I can literally say I'm not black. And the thing is, a lot of y'all will socialize me and view me as black.
A lot of black people in the Dominican Republic say things like, yo no soy negro, soy dominicano. Why are black people in the Dominican Republic trying so hard not to be black and or acknowledge their African ancestry? And rather than saying, yes, I'm black, I'm African descent, they'll say, I'm not black, I'm Hispanic. And sure, technically, because they speak Spanish, they are Hispanic, sure. But speaking the language of the Spaniards that took away everything you are, your culture, your ethnic identity, and your language, and then replace it with theirs, that doesn't make you them.
We were in the Caribbean in 1555, and we got f***ed up out there. Really f***ed up out there. They put up something called the caste system, which is racial hierarchy. Did you know that? Spanish people, white Spanish people, then people born in New Spain of Spanish descent, mestizos, basically Spanish and Native American descent, Native American, then African. So don't tell me there's no such thing as a race thing in the Caribbean. There is. There's colorism, there's all of that. There's also some things where they want to perfect the race, basically. Don't date anybody darker, or Africano, or Negro.
And I don't hold it against y'all because you've been trained and conditioned to associate anything black with being bad. You look at black American, you be like, I don't want no part of that. You look at black people, period, because colonization truly has done a number on Dominicans in general, and you, black, no.
This is me, again, with my siblings. And I was the only sibling who was kind of blonde like my mom. And as a kid, people made me feel as if I was more valuable just because I was blonde. Like I was better than my siblings. Like, oh, she's la rubia, you know, they used to say those things to me because I was blonde.
But my point is that at the end of the day, we have the same ancestors. Haiti and the Dominican Republic were the exact same country. It was Hispaniola. That's what it was before it was the DR and before it was Haiti. The West African slaves that were brought into Hispaniola, they're the same slaves.
You ever notice how some Dominicans will say real quick, I'm not black, I'm Dominican, but here's what gets me. They speak Spanish because Spain colonized them. The language, the names, the culture, all of it was forced on them by Europeans who were trying to erase any trace of blackness from the island. And yet, blackness still survived, in the skin, in the hair, in the rhythm, in the roots. So why are so many Dominicans still running from being associated with black identity? Where does that come from? And what does it really say about the long-lasting impact of colonization and colorism in the Caribbean? Let's take a deeper look at what's really going on. And I want you to pay close attention to this because it says a lot without even trying.
Reminder that Dominicans are not black. We are not black, and no matter how much black Americans cry about it, we are not black. We will never be black. Yes, I look black, but we are not black. And it's just a reminder to black Americans who are so pathetically forcing Dominicans to label themselves as black. When we keep telling them we have our own culture, we know black, papi, they still force it on us. So just a reminder, Dominicans are not black, period.
When the ones that actually claim their blackness, it's sorry, guys, but some of you guys be like, I know black, I know black, I know black. Imposible, I know black. I'm Dominican, I'm Puerto Rican, I know black. Be looking just like me. Be having the same hair. I be touching it like, it's not the same. It's not the same. It's not the same, papi. It's not the same. They try to salsa that shit off. I be like, no, it's not the same. I know black. Negro, nunca, nunca. I know no, nunca. I know black. I'm like, no, you black. No. I know black. Dominica. I go, I know, but you're black. No, papi. I know black. No, black.
Oh, this the one. Because a lot of Dominicans, Cubans, and Puerto Ricans be trying to act like they are not black, or they try to act like they are a part of, like they have their own situation going on. You are black. I understand that you have your own culture. You may not participate in the black American culture because you still have Dominican culture. We're not trying to take your culture. You still have your own culture in Puerto Rico. We absolutely love it. But you're black. Like, I don't understand why people get upset when we point out the fact that you still, like, I can't say the N-word on here, but still N-word is a thing. Anyway, Also, black people, I get really confused in our culture when we get mad at Puerto Ricans and Dominicans for using the N-word when they are black. And I'm just like, granted, they real bright. They're brighter than us. Some of them, because they come in all kind of shades. Because they're black! Like, they can come in any freaking shade, any shade, shape, and color because they're black. That's all. That's it.
You are black, Papo.
I'm not black, Dominican.
Papo, you're black.
I'm not black, Dominican.
Papo, you're black.
No, I'm not black, Dominican.
Papo, you're not Dominican, you black.
I'm not black, Dominican.
You Dominican, I'm black.
No, not black, Dominican.
Okay.
I can literally say I'm not black. And the thing is, a lot of y'all will socialize me and view me as black. So honestly, it doesn't matter if you identify as black or not. The world will treat you as such. In my comments, evidently, when I am being told, why are you in Latino business as a black person? Why are you in Latino business as an African American? Why are you a Haitian and Dominican? I'm not African American. I'm not Haitian. But y'all say that so you can associate me with blackness and be anti-black. So even if I don't say I'm black, y'all will socialize me as such. So it doesn't really matter if I say whatever, because I'm treated the way that I look and appear, which is a black person.
A lot of black people in the Dominican Republic say things like, yo no soy negro, soy dominicano. Why are black people in the Dominican Republic trying so hard not to be black and or acknowledge their African ancestry? And rather than saying, yes, I'm black, I'm African descent, they'll say, I'm not black, I'm Hispanic. And sure, technically, because they speak Spanish, they are Hispanic, sure. But speaking the language of the Spaniards that took away everything you are, your culture, your ethnic identity, and your language, and then replace it with theirs, that doesn't make you them. But in this case, African descending people in the Dominican Republic are denying the fact that they descend from somewhere in Africa, more than likely Nigeria, and completely denying the descent and saying, I'm not black, I'm Hispanic. There is such a shame in being black. And what I've come to understand is that when I was a little kid, every single time that I turned on the TV and they showed anything in regards to Africa, they would show all the hungry little kids with the little bubble stomachs digging in the trash and all types of poverty. The most degrading and inferior conditions that people can be depicted as is all I ever saw anytime something about Africa was depicted on television. There was a rapper who did an interview and said, I'm so thankful for slavery because if not for Europeans going over to Africa and bringing us to America, I'd still be an African booty scratcher right now. So you see, that is very sad and obviously so much internal hatred. But the real question is it their fault? The macro media pushes this narrative and agenda that the standard of beauty is white and everything about the African, what we were taught in American TV, is inferior, and everything that was been taught about the white folk is superior, elegance, royalty, right? Then you realize that dark skin and or black is associated with poverty and inferiority. So then when Dominicans say, I'm not black, it's like saying, no, I'm not poor, I'm not inferior, I'm Hispanic, I'm superior. This is internalized racism, absolutely. But if you do some research, you realize it makes sense why we're like this, why we don't want to associate ourselves with what we've been indoctrinated to believe is poor, inferior, and everything negative. We want to associate ourselves with everything that is beautiful, superior, and class.
No, because this is so real, like so real. And honestly, I just want to talk about it. Like, let's just talk about it, because I was going to make a video, but I can tell I made a lot of Dominicans press my comments. So let's talk about it. So the first comments I want to address are the ones that are basically saying, well, technically we aren't black because we're mixed. I just want to make a disclaimer. I'm Haitian and I always get mistaken for being Dominican. People think I'm Dominican all of the time. The reason for that is the fact that if you go to the DR, most people are looking like me. So it's just so crazy to me how there are people in my comments who look like they could be my sister and are still denying that they're black in any shape or form. And don't get me wrong, I get it. There are people that are white or white passing in the Dominican Republic. So yes, technically, genetically, it would be incorrect to call them black. And look, I'm gonna be so real, like there's a serious colorism problem, and I'm not even gonna just say it's in the DR because it's in the Caribbean in general. We have our own set of issues in Haiti. We literally have names for different types of skin complexions in Haiti. It's so crazy to the point where even light-skinned people are divided based on physical attributes. So light-skinned people with Afrocentric features and curly hair are looked at a lower level than light-skinned people with straighter hair and white. So not only do we have a colorist problem, but now your features also contribute to how black you are and therefore where you're placed in the social hierarchy. So I'm not even gonna sit here and just say it's just the DR because it's definitely not. But my point is that at the end of the day, we have the same ancestors. Haiti and the Dominican Republic were the exact same country. It was Hispaniola. That's what it was before it was the DR and before it was Haiti. The West African slaves that were brought into Hispaniola, they're the same slaves. So we have the exact same West African genetic makeup. We even both have Taino mixed in both of us. Haitians and Dominicans have Taino blood. Literally the only difference is that the Dominican Republic had a colorist dictator who whitewashed the country and made y'all more mixed. But that also doesn't erase all of your black DNA and heritage that you had before that. And to be real, at the end of the day, I don't really care what people identify as. You could say you're a fucking tree for all I care, but I'm just saying you can't erase your history, you can't erase your past. And for you to be so clearly black and just deny it, it says a lot about your mentality and the fact that you're playing into this colorist mindset, choosing to be anything but black because at the end of the day, black is just seen as this very terrible thing and offensive.
Dominicans be like, I'm not black. Meanwhile, the picture of their abuelita in the living room.
Do you want to know why most Dominicans and Puerto Ricans, particularly the Afro-Latinos, the black Latinos, don't like to claim blackness or African or Afrocentrism? You want to know why? Because when slavery was going on, the breaking of the slave was so horrendous in the Caribbean, you couldn't imagine. Not to say over in the United States and in the southern plantations, we didn't have our fair share of nightmares. Best believe we did. But in the Caribbean, it was a totally different beast. We were in the Caribbean in 1555, and we got f***ed up out there. Really f***ed up out there. They put up something called the caste system, which is racial hierarchy. Did you know that? Spanish people, white Spanish people, then people born in New Spain of Spanish descent, mestizos, basically Spanish and Native American descent, Native American, then African. So don't tell me there's no such thing as a race thing in the Caribbean. There is. There's colorism, there's all of that. There's also some things where they want to perfect the race, basically. Don't date anybody darker, or Africano, or Negro. So you be careful of that. So that's taught in the Caribbean. Also, another factor is, because they're also very broken and suffering from self-hatred, what happens is, during the 1940s, 50s, and 60s, when a lot of people from the Caribbean were migrating, immigrating to America, what was going on in America at the time? Segregation, Jim Crow. The civil rights movement was just starting to kick off a little bit. So a lot of our Afro-Latino brothers and sisters was witness what African Americans were going through, and you know what? They didn't want no piece of that. So to escape persecution, I'm Hispanic, I'm Dominican, I'm Puerto Rican. That's how it came to be. That's how it came to be.
I'm gonna keep talking about this because if you keep sending me messages talking about you want Dominicans to be included when we speak about, the Latin community and y'all want a seat at the table, okay, it starts with y'all. There are so many of y'all on this app to date, as dark as me and darker, still saying you're not black, you're Dominican. Dominican that's where you're born, okay? Your race is not Dominican. I'm not trying to laugh. That doesn't make any sense. So and I don't hold it against y'all because you've been trained and conditioned to associate anything black with being bad. You look at Black America, you be like, I don't want no part of that. You look at black people, period, because colonization truly has done a number on Dominicans in general, and you black, no, you know what I'm saying? So I don't really hold it against y'all. However, you can't just be oblivious. We know lots of Dominicans, there's white, black, mixed, yada, 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 but you cannot keep living in that land of delusion or associating anything black with negativity. Because there are more Dominicans that fall into the black category versus ones that don't. It's only a small percentage of Dominicans that don't look black. Pretty much every Dominican you meet, whether they're light skinned, medium brown, medium semi-dark brown, or dark brown, or black, they look black. It's not a bad thing. So correct that, and then maybe people will start to accept you more. I don't know, but you asked.
This is a conversation that we have to have because a lot of Dominicans do not want to hear this. In fact, when they are seen as black here in the United States, they say, I'm not black, I'm Dominican. And yes, as I mentioned before, I am Dominican. My mom is white and my father, it's not necessarily black, but close enough. This is my mom. She's literally white. And when she was a kid, she was also naturally blonde and she has green eyes. This is me and my siblings, and as you can see, I'm this one, and I was blonde. Here is a picture with my dad. This is me. This is me again with my siblings, and I was the only sibling who was kind of blonde like my mom. And as a kid, people made me feel as if I was more valuable just because I was blonde. Like I was better than my siblings. Like, oh, she's la rubia, you know, they used to say those things to me because I was blonde. And when my father would go out with me by himself without my mom, people wouldn't think that I was his kid. But yes, in Latin America and here, everywhere, whiteness, the closer you are to whiteness, the better you are. That's what they teach us in the Dominican Republic. In Latin America, here in the United States, I would say that in the entire world. And that's what colonialism left us. Because especially in the Dominican Republic, remember that our history, we live in an island that we share with Haiti. And I would say that 99% of people in Haiti are black. In the Dominican Republic, I will have to go back to history to 1505 with the devastation of Osorio, where basically they devastated the part of the island that is now Haiti, and then the Spanish moved to the part that it's the Dominican Republic, and they were mixing with the slaves and the indigenous people. But the French, the Portuguese, and the people who came with slaves to the part that today is Haiti, they wouldn't mix with them. They brought their women. The Spanish didn't bring women, so they were having sex with slaves and indigenous women. That's why in the Dominican Republic, you can see white people, black people, people in the middle. We're mixed, more mixed than they are in Haiti. And then our history, our independence was from Haiti. So there you have the history of Dominicans seeing Haiti as the oppressor, basically. And then in Haiti, obviously, they have more black people than in the Dominican Republic. And then it's not only about blackness that is rejected in the Dominican Republic, they even see it as something patriotic about it. And then they reject the blackness, not only because of culture, because they want to disassociate themselves from Haitians, but then when they come to the United States, they say that they're not black, even though literally we are descendants of Africans too. And Haitians are literally our brothers.
Do you think it's important to date inside your culture? When I was a kid, my mom didn't want me dating nobody out of my culture. She wanted me to do straight Spanish people and everything. Fake black? I am black. She didn't want me to... Yo, bro.
Oh, you Dominican. You're Dominican.
I'm Dominican.
I know black. I ain't Dominican.
That makes sense.
I know black, bro.
Yeah, me know black.
Chill. All Dominicans is black. All Dominicans is black. Don't do that. All Dominicans is black.
So I'm on the grounds of this resort. It's absolutely gorgeous. I'll do some B-roll to let you see what I'm seeing. It is absolutely gorgeous. But what's crazy is that we are here with a large number of pale YT people, and they are feeling themselves because of this election of Donald Trump and the craziness that's going on in the United States. And also the DR. The people here, they have a saying, I know black, I Dominican. I know black, I Dominican. And you could feel the vitriol. I'm not very sensitive to these kinds of things, but I pay attention to them. I said something, well, let me say it this way. I heard someone say something on TikTok, and she said what I believe is absolutely genius. She said that black folks are the envy of the world. And if we only realized who we were, we would see that there are people who feel a certain way about us, not because of who we are, but because who they know us to be. And that shocked my spirit. And being here and seeing these people and seeing how they react or act toward people like me, who, you know, I'm just minding my business, you could see that they know who we are better than we know who we are.
So after everything we've seen in this video, here's where I stand. I've noticed something that keeps coming up. A lot of Dominicans, not all, but many, go out of their way to say, I'm not black. Some even get offended by it. And I'm not here to force anybody to identify with anything they don't want to. Honestly, if you want to identify as Dominican, Afro-Dominican, mixed, indigenous, Spanish, or even a cardboard box, that's your right. That's your life. And I truly don't have a problem with that. But what I do have a problem with is when people try to erase blackness like it's something to be ashamed of, like it's something dirty, ugly, or beneath them, because that's when we're no longer talking about identity. We're talking about internalized racism and the damage that colonization has done to our minds and our history. The truth is, the reason Spanish is spoken in the Dominican Republic is because Spain, a European colonizing power, came in, took over, enslaved Africans, killed off indigenous Taino people, and worked hard to whiten the culture. This was never an accident. This was the system working exactly as it was designed, to divide people by skin tone, to make blackness the enemy, and to make people feel like being close to whiteness means being better. But no matter how much colonizers tried, they could never fully erase blackness from the Caribbean. You see it in the food, the music, the rhythm, the features, the blood. DNA doesn't lie. You can try to run from it, bleach it, deny it, but it's still there. And let me say this loud and clear. Being black is not something to run from. Being black is an honor. It's powerful. It's beautiful. And I love every bit of it. I'm proud of my skin, my history, my people, and my culture. No one will ever convince me otherwise. I'm not here to tell Dominicans who they are, but I am here to challenge some of these ideas that were planted by colonizers and passed down like they were truth. We all have the right to define our own identity, but let's not do it by rejecting a part of ourselves that comes from strength, survival, and legacy. If you're Dominican and you're watching this, I would love to hear your thoughts. Be honest. Let's talk about it in the comments. If you're not Dominican, but you've experienced similar things in your own culture, I want to hear from you too. Because this conversation is bigger than just one island. It's about how blackness has been treated across the world and how we're learning to reclaim it, love it, and be proud of it again. Thank you for watching this video all the way through. If it made you think, if it challenged you, or if you felt seen, please give it a like, share it, and subscribe. Until next time, be proud, be real, and never let anyone make you feel less than who you are.